If you are a big fan of Coraline, I've got the biggest hear me out you're ever going to hear. Now, this movie's a little bit older, but if you liked Coraline, you're going to like this movie too. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay? You look like a guy who watches movies. I do, thank you. But I will say this. I am not just a movie watcher. I'm obsessed. I grew up Mennonite, and we didn't have a lot of access to these kind of movies, or any kind of movies, really. And when I got older, I immediately immersed myself in it. I have a deep passion for these things. That's why I'm coming to you today to bring you something that I just don't think a lot of people have seen. And what's even better is, guess who's behind this movie? The Jim Henson Company. Now, you should know the name Jim Henson because he's the people behind Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal. Anytime you see the Muppets, anytime you see any kind of animatronics and animation that has that kind of quality, that's Jim Henson. But what's crazy is, this movie has gone so far under the radar that Jim Henson has put this movie out for free on YouTube. Because for some reason, even though they produced all these films, this movie just never got any kind of push. And I think from what I've seen and from like the interviews, it does feel like the company itself has a soft spot for this film and they just want people to see it, but it never took off. Now, I'm going to call the community to, if you have seen this before, go down to the comments and tell people why they should watch it. Tell people the first time you watched it and why it gripped you so much. Because a lot of people are going to see this as just a YouTube video and I'm just making content, but no, really, they don't understand that, you know, if you liked Coraline and you liked those kind of things, that actually this movie kind of was ahead of its time in a lot of ways, especially the 3D aspect. What is the movie about? That's what you're wondering. And why should you watch it? So the main star of the film is a 15-year-old girl named Helena. Okay, and essentially what happens is she's struggling with, you know, a lot of the films is her struggling with emotional problems, stuff like depression and just wanting to get away and wanting to, you know, it's like stuff that we can all like really relate to in certain times in our life, especially when we were younger. And her family runs a circus. And that would seem like, to most people, that would seem like amazing. But she wants to get away from it all. She actually just wants a normal life. This is like a juxtaposition of like the normal take on it, which is, oh, I want a fantastic life. I want to get away from the normal. She actually wants to go to normal and just have a normal time. But with all these emotional problems and all the things going on in her life, her mom actually has a serious illness. Now, none of this is a spoiler. You learn about it in like the first 5 minutes of the entire movie. She is kind of escapes into her own reality to deal with these problems. And I think the movie overall, even though it's older, is so relatable to the things that people go through on a daily basis and how they actually feel. But the thing is, she's a kid, right? Like, she doesn't know how to cope with these things, and she doesn't know how to deal with these things. So the components that she just makes up in her head, so we think, right, kind of bring together the things that she makes up in her head, kind of bring together for her projections of how she sees herself and her family and the different people in her life. And a lot of it is just her discovering that there's real life consequences to her actions. And that mainly the way she feels about her parents, she doesn't realize that, you know, they're not immortal and they're not going to be there forever. That, you know, one day they might be gone. And this is something I think is super relatable, and it ties in so well how they weave this together without you even realizing what the topic is, because everything is so fantastic and tied to these characters. But that's all I'm gonna give you. Now, I will ask for a huge favor. if you like this movie, tell other people. Tell other people. Encourage people to watch it. But also, all that YouTube cares is that you've watched this whole thing and that you watch more of my videos. And if you want to support me and you care, I've got links down below where you can go to the Discord and join the community. And you can tell me about more movies that you'd like me to see. Because I really want this channel to be a gateway to stuff that I love and want to share with people.